And we're live. Welcome back to the show, to the Resistance. I'm your host, Jamie McNichol from Adelaide. I don't know if Damien Maynard from South Carolina is going to join me. Maybe he's gone back to bed because it's early morning over there. He's got to go to work later on. But what an awesome episode. We just round up with Jackie, who was at the protest in Melbourne on Mother's Day just recently. And, man, if you're not educated, I suggest you go and listen to that because I've got a lot of information in that and a lot of great discussions. Well, this is the part two of that episode. Well, it's not really a part two. It's a second interview I lined up because on Sunday I was watching the live stream what was going on in Melbourne, and there was a lot of things that were happening and people got abused by the police and falsely arrested. We go and talk about all that. But I have a person who was at the protests, and there's videos going around on mainstream media and from people that were at the protest on the arrest of her husband. We're going to talk about this. I welcome Paige Clark. Welcome, Paige. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Now, before we really get dug deep into it, let's give the audience a bit of a background of you, Paige, because there's a lot of things that you do behind the scenes.
Yeah, so I am obviously a mum, which everyone kind of figured out via the protest videos.
Yep.
I'm also a moderator for a worldwide science group called Worldwide United. So you've probably heard of the
Right.
we promote awareness to people about learning about the safety risks involved with biking. And I'm also part of a couple of other groups too that help a lot of people. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. So yeah, there's a little bit problem with the audio there on your end. I think it's getting a little bit muted, but we're okay. I can hear you, but yeah, there's a little bit of a problem with some things. But anyway, before we actually start talking about exactly what happened, I'm going to share screen a video that you sent me. You want me to share the first? You want me to share the first video you sent me about the arrests, and then we can talk about it?
Yeah, sure. If you do it, can we share the first one where Nate's getting arrested?
Yeah, when he's getting arrested, yes.
Yeah, cool.
Right, what I'll do is I'll just screen it right now. No, that's the wrong one. Yeah, share screen. There we go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me because there's a lot of information to be involved in this. The very first thing that goes, a lot of information, right? Just sort up. Now, I don't know if this is the right one, but I'm going to play it anyway.
Yeah, play it anyway. We'll still talk about it.
Just hold up. I'm just going to make sure I've got the right things. Yep. Everything's right. Now I'm going to do this because just to make sure the audio comes through. All right. We're going to play this one. You there, Paige?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You there, Paige?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, wait a minute. You're not hearing me. Sorry about that, Paige. Can you hear me now?
That's all right. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can hear this. Can you hear that?
No, can't hear that.
All right, let me do something different. Just hold up. I know what it is. Here we go.
Yeah, you dropped out, I think.
Here we
Can you
go.
talk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it now. Just hold up.
Cool.
It's just trial and error. Don't worry. Yeah, this is the video that you just shared to me early tonight.
Yep.
Now I'm going to play it. It's a 9-second video, and then we're going to do our own. You know what I mean? Our own commentary on it. So here's just what you said.
Yep.
Yes, they're letting him go. So the police are getting debriefed now.
Right. Let's watch that one more time, and then we'll do a commentary.
Yep.
Yes, they're letting him go. So the police are getting debriefed now.
All right. Okay. All right. That was the 9-second one. That was when your husband was released from the police, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was not even half an hour after the arrest happened. So that was also at the protest site too.
All right. Now I'm going to go to the start of that because there's another video that you sent me of him actually getting arrested. Hopefully I've got that video when he actually did get arrested.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I said that too.
Yeah, there's a minute, about a 2-minute video. You want that one or you want the other one?
I reckon the 2-minute one, even though that there's a little bit of swearing, but yeah, that one kind of shows a bigger picture of what was happening. So
right, I've got that right here too. So I need to unplug my microphone again so we can get some audio. Just give me a second.
No worries.
Share screen. All right. Here's a 2-minute one. And let's see if this puts a bit of an awareness on what actually went down. This is your husband, Nathan, right?
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Fucking let me go, mate. Right. Fucking let me go. What are they doing? The terrorists. Taking away baby. Sickos. Sickos.
This is unlawful.
It was across the road.
He was doing nothing. He was doing nothing wrong. We've got this from the start.
Put it back. Sick puppies. Put it back.
He was standing peacefully with his children.
Child over there. What the fuck? Get me your arm. Fuck you. Get me your arm. Put it back.
Standing there peacefully. He wasn't just corrupt.
Looks like the cops there just need Nathan into the ribs. We are going to talk about it very shortly. It looks like the cops there need going into the ribs.
Yeah. There was also a couple of points where his head was slammed into the concrete too. So
So now I'm not listening.
Conscience about yourself and start speaking.
Why are you doing this?
I hope you lose your jobs.
All right. There you go. There's that one.
Yeah, it's a bit full on that one.
Yeah. So, just give me a couple of seconds.
No worries.
Now that is disturbing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry if I'm going back and forth because I'm doing the share screen, but the listeners need to know about this. Now, let's go back to basics, so let's go back to the start. You attended the protest near the tail end of it. Did you see the previous arrest that was being made before Nathan, your husband, got arrested?
No. I had actually only been in the city for a max of probably about 20 minutes to half an hour. I actually wasn't there when the arrest started happening. So it was a friend of mine that actually filled me in that there was other arrests and that mace was used, and it was pretty full on. Like, she explained to me that it was all peaceful and stuff, and then the police just kind of turned. So I was like, oh wow, that's really full on, because the intention that I had, obviously, I promote peaceful protests, and that's the whole reason why I was going there, was because I thought, yeah, it's going to be fine. And I had no idea that it was already had arrests happening and stuff. It was really insane. So obviously, sorry, go.
Yeah. Now, but before you went to the protest, we were aware of what happened the day before in Sydney, where Renee, who was arrested with her son in her hands, we were aware of that the day before you went to the thing, because what Renee went through, Nathan went through with the two, not one child, two kids. So were you aware of? Yeah, were you aware of that?
Yeah, I had seen the video of it. From what I had been told and what I had viewed on her videos, it was pretty much the police targeting her. I didn't actually realize that, but yeah, like, I didn't actually think it would kind of happen to someone that wasn't even involved in a protest. So, yeah, a bit confronting.
Well, see, we spoke last night on the phone to organise this interview. Now, what I do is I'm a truth seeker, and I question everything with the corrupt government and everything else. And what I do with a few other people that I'm involved with, we look at protests as well. Yeah. And nine times out of 10 in protests around the world, they're people that have been planted in the crowd of what they call agent provocateurs or instigators. Mm-hmm. Now, you were saying to me that you felt that all the arrests, except for one, because they did get charged for it, and when they got arrested, all the arrests were staged. Can you elaborate on that? Because Nathan ended up with broken ribs, but the thing is, 20 minutes later, as we saw in the first video that I shared, he was let go. He didn't have to read out his rights. No charges laid. But the video just there showed that there was about 10 to 12 cops trying to arrest him. Yeah, and yet, that's correct. And yet, when Nathan was on the ground, just showing that footage there, looked like one of the cops kneed him in the ribs. Yeah, that's correct. So my question for you, Paige, is, do you believe that there was agent provocateurs set up around the place, or quote unquote stage arrests? Because that's what's been going out at the moment. Because the mainstream media has put this spin on it that the protesters were the one that were advocating violence or provoking the police, when that never really happened in the first place. It was the other way around. Yeah. So, to answer your question, I totally believe that was set up. The reason why I say this is because I obviously, being that it was my family that was targeted, we ended up getting a lot of footage from people that were there. And just recently, I had been sent a video of the media setting up to take shots of people
they were about to get arrested. And
Yeah.
just after Nathan's arrest in one of the films that I was sent, you actually hear one of the media people turn around and say to the police officers, thanks for organizing that. And that kind of, it kind of made me go, whoa,
Yeah.
how can you sit there and say thanks for organizing that when my partner, like I said, he came up to me, gave me a kiss, walked across the road, told me he was going to walk towards the Fitzroy Gardens with the kids because I'm very, I didn't want them there because I'd already heard that there was arrest happened. And so, within that split second, like, he was arrested from me turning my back. And then,
and Nathan was I know this for a fact, Nathan wasn't part of the protest as per se.
No, to be honest with you, right up until that arrest, Nathan was asleep. Like, he wasn't awake to anything going on. Me and him would actually sit there for hours on end just debating and being like, I was trying to say, hey, you need to wake up, like, this is actually happening. And he'd be like, I don't really care, like, you sound like a crazy person. And I'd be like, oh, but like, since that arrest, he's been like, oh wow, like, what you were saying is true and what everyone else is saying is true. And he kind of got a bit jibbed in a way, like, he didn't get to wake up like most of us have. He just kind of was thrown into it and said, look, this is how the real world is, deal with it because you're now part of it. Like, it was pretty shocking. Like, he realized as soon as I showed him all the footage of the media and them saying thanks for organizing it, that he was targeted. Like, and he got even more angrier because it was our kids and it was him and our family that were put through the media, and it was all for a story. Like, and there was no consent, no nothing. Like,
no. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing I want to question the mainstream media on this. They were saying that Nathan was trying to resist his arrest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, just have a look at it plain and simple. Get some common sense. He was there with the pram with children. There was cops already talking to him before he got thrown up against the wall and thrown onto the ground, right? The cops were already standing there with Nathan.
Yeah. It's not like he could follow move on orders if he was already pinned up against a wall with our pram and there were police surrounding him already. Like, and that's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. Okay, I get it. People are going to have a go at me because they don't believe that, the protest should have happened. But he was literally walking away from the area, which I'm just going to quote this, by, government advice, you're allowed to exercise. You're allowed to walk. Yep. You're not told what vicinity where you can walk. You're told you can do it. And they purely pinpointed him because he kissed me goodbye and walked across the road. And because he had kids, it made him vulnerable. Like, it was completely set up. And like I said, I've got quite a few videos on my Facebook that show that. Whether people watch them or not, it's a different story. But if people want to watch it, go for it, because it also includes my personal footage that I took from that day, and it shows pretty much a play-by-play of what happened. So,
and you know what the most sickening part about all this too, after when Nathan got released, the media wanted to speak to him.
So the same media that was standing on the Parliament steps, there were two guys, and they had like a camera and a little microphone and stuff, and they were actually recording on the Parliament steps when Nathan was getting arrested. And then straight after, like I said, half an hour later, he was let out with no charges, no nothing. And they were the first people to walk up to him and say, hey, can you explain what happened? And he said, I walked across the road and I got arrested falsely. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 can I get your name, yada, yada, yada. And Nathan's like, you clearly already know it. Yeah, my name's Nathan, and then walked off. So those guys purposely knew what was going to happen. And then they came up to him afterwards when he had no idea what was going on and asked him to comment on their actions towards him and putting him in that position. Like, it's a catch-22. You don't do that to people. You don't do that to people when then they have no idea you're setting them up.
So basically, I'm jumping a little bit ahead. How did you know that Nathan had a broken rib? You went to the hospital, got checked over, x-ray showed that he had broken rib. How did that come about?
So obviously, when we kind of realized what had happened, like I obviously realized what happened quite quickly. Nathan, on the other hand, after he told me they didn't read his rights to him, they pretty much threw him into the back of the thing, told him they weren't going to release him unless he gave them his name. He pretty much goes to me, look, babe, my ribs and my whole body really hurt. Like one of them slammed my head into the concrete, the other one like hurt my ribs. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to get you to the doctor. And so we're really lucky that our family doctor is really good. He is very prompt on things. So he was able to go to get the x-ray done and whatever else. And it turned out, he had damage to his ribs. And it was just a kind of sense to go do it because we knew that it was a false arrest and we knew that we needed to do something about it. And
so did they drive, like, I know with a lot of other people, they drove him like 2 or 3 blocks away from the area where the protest was. Then they released him without any charge, except for one. One person did get charged. Was that the same situation with Nathan? Did he get driven away a block or 2 and then get released? Or he just questioning him in the...
No, so Nathan stayed in that van the entire time, and that van didn't move. We actually had our friend Matt Lawson, who also helps run the group that I help run, and he is very smart with his laws. So he actually pulled one of the senior police aside and said, "Look, what you're doing to him is unlawful. You can't actually pull away with him in that van. Otherwise, it's I think it was like unlawful detainment and a couple of other things as well." And so my friends actually had pulled a copper aside and said, "Look, you need to release him because what you're doing isn't right and it's against the law." And so pretty much Matt was the reason why Nathan was able to get released.
Because you should know this, or I think you have known this since Sunday, because we have time to digest what has occurred on Sunday. A lot of the police officers that were there on Sunday, they were young and looked like they just came out of the police academy. Now, I do feel sorry for them because they just got sworn in to protect the people and whatnot, but they're just following orders just like the top guy is. And the first day on the beat, it might be the first day on the beat, this happens. And 9 times out of 10, the police officers know it's a lot of garbage what's going on.
Right? So like that's the police officers that I spoke to. Like I said, I'm not fully against police officers. I know that there's some that don't really understand what's going on, and I also know that there's some that are really right deep down to the core corrupt. But the officers that I spoke to, in particular, one of them that handed back my child, he kind of was very kind about him, but I think that he knew that if he kind of broke ranks, that he was going to get in trouble. And I just want to highlight that to people, is that some of them, they're new. They think, oh, I'm going into the police force to help people, and it ends up being the opposite way round, and they end up feeling really horrible. Where others, they just don't care. Like the ones that jumped on Nath, most of them didn't care. The ones that laid into him didn't care. But there was a lady police officer who had her mask on, and as soon as she realized that I was getting really distressed and saying, "You don't understand. My partner has no idea what's going on. You need to calm him down," because Nathan actually has ADHD, so his thought process just goes bam as soon as someone's attacking him. And so because I was so distressed and I was saying, "You need to calm him down, give me back my kids," she kind of just like threw her hands up in the air and then walked across the road, and that's where you see her on the opposite side of the road. And she kind of laughed, like when in another one you could see her laughing, and that's where the conversation with the media happened, where they were thanking them. And so some of them, like I said, they think it's hilarious. Some of them have no idea what's going on. Some of them are genuinely good people, but some of them are really crap too. So it's the catch-22.
You've got corruption in everything, especially when it comes to government, police, doctors, lawyers, whatever else. You do have corruption. And the problem that I saw on Sunday was that it was supposed to be a peaceful protest, and it was a peaceful protest, right? But
yes, it was.
As soon as you saw the cops trying to be a battering ram And it wasn't just one cop. We're talking about 10, maybe 11, arresting just one person at a time. Each and every one that got arrested got about 10 cops on it. Where was the equal force in all that? There was no equal force.
Yeah,
And
there was none.
I saw a photo late on Sunday. There was an elderly man near the protest got pepper sprayed in the eyes too. That did occur and whatnot. But the thing is, unfortunately, when there is a protest, no matter what it is, there are some provocateurs inside the crowd that get planted, whether it's an undercover police officer or anyone. They're getting paid. That's what their job to do. And the media had the cameras rolling. It was ready to rock and roll. And basically what occurred with all the arrests, they put the spin on it that the protesters were the ones that were creating the violence. That didn't occur. That's what they do. They put the instigators and provocateurs in the crowd so the media can spin it to make the whole situation look bad. And that's
and we know this kind of stuff happens as it is. Like, we already know that, like, there's undercover police officers in shopping centers. They do that to try and pinpoint people that shoplift. So if they're already doing it in a supermarket, what's to say that they're not going to do it in a protest anyway? It's the same thing, just a different scenario. And I think there's a lot of influence in things like that when it comes to protests, especially this one, to be honest.
Now, I know this from experience, especially when it comes to the truth movement. There's a lot of groups, as you're aware of, on social media, trying to get the truth out there as much as they can. But for some way, shape, or form, there are little pockets of people in each group that try to disrupt the whole process, and it becomes more of a popularity contest. And I've witnessed this, and a few other people have witnessed this, that when you start to create fractions within the group, that's when the movement, or what's the word I'm looking for, not just the movement, but the cause, it starts to fall apart. And I'm starting to see this after what has occurred on Sunday, there are some infighting going on. And it's just a bit of bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah, personally, because obviously, like I said, I support a lot of causes. So specifically, I mainly support 5G. But obviously, I'm a very open-minded person. I get along with pretty much everybody and everyone, regardless of their beliefs. I will sit there and always listen to them and take on what they say. And 9 times out of 10, I end up listening to them and believing exactly what they do. And I'm noticing instead of people having an open approach to other people's opinions and beliefs, they're sitting there and trying to make them believe otherwise and give up what they believe to get them on their side. And some people aren't wanting that. Some people aren't wanting to sit there and be told, you must believe this, because it exactly, defines the exact same problem that we're having in our world today. And it's called control. It's not good. We don't want that. And that's where a lot of movements are going to start falling apart, is because nobody wants to respect each other and nobody wants to realize that everyone has their opinions, but doesn't mean you have to shove your opinion down someone else's throat. And it happens a lot. And that's where a lot of these movements fall apart, is because of opinionated people who think my voice is louder than yours and you must believe what I believe. And it shouldn't work like that. No matter how many people follow you, no matter how many people sit there and think you're right, you don't force that on other people. You leave them to be open to choose their own morals and their own beliefs.
Right. Because 2 weeks ago, I was having a bit of debate within myself, saying that it's no point waking up the community, because the community is so damn blind that all like sheep, and quite frankly, they can go to hell. What's the point? What's the point of trying to beat the same drum over and over again when they're just not going to pay attention, not going to listen to you? Right?
Yeah.
Well, 2 days before, I think it was a Thursday last week before the protest, I got a question for myself. I said, Jamie, settle down, son. there are people out there doing silent protests because no one really gives a crap about social distancing. If you just go down to your local supermarket or whatnot, everyone got obeying by the social distancing. And as a matter of fact, if you look on Sunday at the protest, even the police officers weren't social distancing. So
Yeah.
they're doing a silent protest, right?
Yeah.
So, but here's the point that I wanted to make. A lot of people do not want to commit, and it's for one reason and one reason only. You've got the police officers trying to enforce their power and the law onto people while you're going out to exercising your freedom of speech, so to think, right? But at the same token, they can't charge you for anything because it's not a law; it's a rule.
Yeah.
And the law's got to be, the common law's got to be put into the Constitution. Now, as we all aware, 9 out of 10 people, I'm hearing there were 10 people that are arrested. There could be more, but I'm just going with 10. Right? One of those people did get charged because the police think he's a threat. That's a lot of crock of bullshit. But you cannot, under constitutional law in Australia, or common law, I should say, be charged for breaching a lockdown law, which is not even a law to begin with. It's not a law.
And it's not. And that's another thing that I wanted to kind of speak about as well is with our constitution. So a lot of people got the idea that the protest was just one-sided and it was all about 5G or it was all about vaccines and stuff like that. A lot of people didn't realize it was about everything. It was about the laws. It was about human rights. It was about whether you want to do a vaccine or not. It was about whether you want 5G or not. It was about a lot of things. And the constitutional law, people don't seem to realize it. All the rules that are coming in are contradicting our constitution. There's a part in the constitution which says that us as Australian people, we choose to either abide by the law or not. And I really want people to know that we choose to abide by the law. We don't have to. We do it because we want democracy. We want people to get along and stuff like that. But if it comes to points like this, where our government's against us and we're the people and they're supposed to work for us, we don't have to listen to what they say, regardless. And that's in our Magna Carta and that's in our constitutional. So a lot of people don't know that, and they sit there and they hate on people that protest or stand up or, you know, don't go with the normal and go against the grain. They hate people for it, but they don't realize if they read their laws, they'd know that they could do the exact same thing. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting divided because they don't know their laws. So
exactly. Well, that's the way the two-system party works in the government. It's a divide and conquer. Right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing that within the truth movements as well. The truth movement are starting to divide the people rather than uniting. I've experienced. Yeah. I have literally experienced this in the truth movement of the divide because they try to conflict the situation rather than trying to solve it. Like, there's so many people that got the tall poppy syndrome. And listen, I'm not a person that say I know everything. I'm not the sharpest tool in the toolbox. But I can be rest assured, I can assure people I am not a blunt object as well.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, what I'm saying is people would choose to agree or disagree, which is it's a right thing to do. But from what occurred this morning, and I did see it myself, there was a lot of infighting, and I don't want to mention the group because there's a lot of good people in that group. There are some people, it's only a minority of people, that are trying to take it upon themselves, trying to stir up trouble. And you're going to see that with every single group that's out there. Right?
Yeah.
The best advice I'll give to that group is don't become your own critic. Right? If you become your own critic, things will fall apart. Right? Because the question I'm going to ask now is, with what happened on Sunday, what is the next process from stepping forward? If we just sit back, if we all sit back and just sit on our hands and say, Well, they really can't do anything now because their freedom of speech is taken away. If we go out on the street, they're going to falsely arrest us again. No.
We need
The-
people to understand that regardless of what we believe, that if we all unite and respect each other, we can be unstoppable. And a lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize that if you take on someone else's opinion, and even though you might not sit eye to eye with it, if you respect them still and stand with them, we could do more change than what we could do divided. So
right.
I think with strategic wise, when it comes to things like this in the future, people should maybe just keep that in mind, that regardless of how you feel about someone else, you could hate them, you could anything, but if you stand with them, you could make a lot of change. And I think a lot of people need to remember that we're all equal regardless. So
Exactly.
I think it's something that people need to take on when going to these protests, that it's not just about you, it's not just about the next person, it's about everyone.
Right.
So
before we go
Yeah.
into deep conversation about all this lockdown process of what's the next step forward with you and Nathan? Are you guys going to press charges to the police, or what is your advice? What is the advice that's been given to you? What you should do?
So the advice we have been given is, obviously we've been given advice to make charges. There comes a catch-22 with this. So it can come across as bad and it can come across as good. So like I said, the police that did what they did to Nathan, they were in the wrong. But that means not all police are like that.
So, hold on. Did the police actually said that to Nathan what they were doing was wrong? Did they say that?
No.
Okay.
But we had a police officer, so Nathan went to the police station and tried to make a statement in regards to the incident. And the police officer was very biased towards Nathan and pretty much said, well, you know what, you could make a statement now with me, but it's not going to go anywhere. So it was a bit of a kick in the guts, because we expected at least one police officer to stand with us and say, hey, look, yeah, that was wrong, but we still respect that you don't judge all police like that. So no, it's just about trial and error right now. So we're just trying to figure out a way to get a statement done without biased opinions. So, which is going to be pretty hard, but we've contacted a few people that are a bit more aware in this issue.
Yeah.
So like I said, even when trying to do something, you got to be prepared that a lot of people are going to knock you back. A lot of people are going to sit there and tell you it's not going to go anywhere. But just keep fighting. If you believe that these people shouldn't be working anymore, then stand up. Like, don't let them push you around. Don't let them tell you that you don't have a voice, because you do. And what they do like this, it's wrong. You're not allowed to do that.
Exactly.
By law, by their oath, they have to do it. They work for us, and taking a statement from us against their own people, if they're corrupt, it's their job. It's what they have to do. So we're obviously going to keep pushing.
They're only there to obey orders from the corporations, and it's not like this is what they should be doing. It's to protect and serve the community. They're not doing that. They're just bowing down and bum licking the corporation to give them a paycheck. And yeah, there are some good people in the police force. I will say that there are some, but these minorities just make the whole freaking system look corrupt. You know what I mean? It's just that's what happens. And
you're gonna find that in any field. Like, I know personally for me, I study healthcare, and I've even noticed.
This is where I wanted to jump straight in, because we spoke on the phone last night about this. Before this lockdown, you were studying as well to become a nurse.
Yeah.
Now, with the vaccination side of things, I'm going to let you speak, but I know for the next phrase that is coming, they're going to force vaccination, which means that every employment that around Australia and around the world, they're going to mandatory you to be vaccinated. If you do not get vaccinated, you're going to be out of a job.
Yeah.
You on the other hand, decided not to get vaccinated due to your current situation, which is studying. Therefore, you can't get a job. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So I've been doing nursing, studying nursing for almost 3 years. And if I don't get a vaccination, I actually won't be given my my accredit what's the word? I've forgotten.
Your
Yeah,
credentials.
so I'm not. I won't get my credentials if I don't do it. So you know, it's my job it's been my dream job for quite a while to be a nurse, but it also goes against my beliefs. And as much as I want to help people, I also want them to be aware that they don't have to do this. They don't have to vaccinate. Even if it's said that they have to, it's not right. And people deserve a choice. And quite frankly, yeah, I've pretty much wasted 3 years of my life because I stuck with my beliefs. And most people don't want to learn the law and realize that we don't have to consent to it. And people are losing out because of it.
Well, that's a thing too, because what people need to do, they need to wake up about the vaccination. You've got metals, you've got metal particles like aluminium, mercury, all that, you've got animal faces in it. You've got all these other things. You even got coronavirus of all things. Now, coronavirus has been around, different strains of coronavirus has been around for years. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
Here's the education process to the listeners out there that are non-believers in this truth. With this coronavirus thing, the only way that you can get this COVID-19 if you were injected with the vaccine that had it. You can't catch it by hugging people or shaking hands. You had to be vaccinated with it.
And that's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. It's like the whole hand sanitizing and washing hands and stuff like that. People don't seem to realize that when you use hand sanitizer continuously and wash your hands continuously, you're not only killing bad bacteria, but you're also killing good bacteria. And
that's the thing. You've got your children. I've got a daughter, right?
Yeah.
When we were growing up, we were taught to touch things. That's what kids do. They reach out and touch things, and obviously they put that hand in their mouth. But
it's like the chicken pox. Back in the day, people would get chicken pox, and you'd chuck them in the same bathtub as them and hope that they'd get them.
And measles as well. I came down with chicken pox and the measles. I got a double whammy. What my mother did, my mother's been a nurse for 29 years. What she did with me was strip me down naked, and she got methylated spirit, and she dabbed the cotton wool all over my body. Then she made me to wear these special gloves so I couldn't scratch myself, because they had these little particles of metal on them. Little particles. So if I scratch myself, I'm going to cut myself. So she doused me with these little dabs of methylated spirit, and within about a week, I was fine.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. I find that people are generally moving away from the old stuff because of the new stuff, and we're forgetting that back in the day, all of this stuff wasn't such a big deal. Like, I get a lot of people are scared of getting sick, but that is what's causing everyone to get sick. Your fear is actually damaging your immune system, and a lot of people don't realize that. Stress, worry, all that kind of stuff, it's caused by fear. And that's what this virus runs on. People are getting scared, and it's what's hurting them. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of criticism for that, but it's true. It's true. It's the same with the lockdowns. Everybody was scared to go to, scared of this virus that has the exact same symptoms as everything else. Hence why they were rushing to hospitals and overflowing the hospitals, causing nurses to get under strain. And it's all because of fear. And people were dying because people can't realize that one nurse can't go amongst hundreds of people without someone dying. And it's no offense to everybody, but it's our own fault. It's our own fault for being so scared. And I get none of us want to die, but in that sense, you could be going to a hospital and having tonsillitis and possibly making someone else lose their life that is having a heart attack. It's all based on. So
because I've been saying this. Doctors have been coming out whistleblowing, and it's not just doctors, other medical examiners. They've been whistleblowing that you can't die from COVID-19. No.
Yep.
Just have a look at the numbers. Those people that have died, I'm not saying every single one of them, but majority of those people that have died around the world due to COVID-19 had a pre-existing medical condition.
Yeah.
They have been forced to put COVID-19 at the cause of death, and for doing that, they're getting paid thousands of dollars.
Even the hospitals.
Yeah,
the hospitals get more money for each person that gets put on a ventilator. Like, of course, they're going to use them. If
they died on a ventilator and have COVID-19, they get $39,000.
Yeah.
So, it's just a thing. But people need to understand that if this was so contagious, wouldn't you think the numbers would have tripled in the first 2 weeks?
If this is so contagious, why aren't nurses social distancing when they're touching you to take your temperature? Why aren't nurses, why aren't you operating on yourself if this is so contagious? Because you can't physically do that. It's contradictory.
This is what, it is contradictory, because this is what my mother said. If you come down with the flu/virus, this is what they do in the hospital. The first thing, not only do they take your temperature and your blood pressure, the very first thing they do, they give you an IV drip to pump fluid into your system. Right? And secondly, if you are not allergic to penicillin, they will give you an antibiotic or a Panadol if you are allergic to drop your temperature down. Nothing else. They don't put a ventilator on. They don't do anything like that. There's only 2 things that they do. They put an IV drip in so they can pump fluid into your system, and an antibiotic or Panadol. Nothing else. Now, I have been told that I am full of it. Okay, who are you going to believe, ladies and gentlemen? Are you going to believe Bill Gates, who is not even a medical doctor, has no qualifications, telling all the leaders and the health organization, hey, before we get back to normal, we need to vaccinate every single one of them?
The only thing that I personally, my personal belief, the only thing that Bill Gates kind of has anything to do with viruses is knowing how they go onto a computer, not how they go on the human body. He doesn't have a health.
The only thing, the firewall on Windows, Microsoft. You know what the worst thing that Bill Gates ever created was Windows Vista. It was a complete freaking scandal, right? You went from Windows 7 to Windows Vista, and you couldn't even operate it. So they took it off the shelf. And then they brought out Vista, Windows 8, and then you went from Windows 8 to Windows 10, right? When you had the Windows 10, like if you had a Windows 8, you can upload it as Windows 10 on it. But the thing is, it wouldn't operate properly. Now, let's go one step further. Well, changing the subject, but go one step further. Fortune 500. Now, what is that, ladies and gentlemen? Fortune 500 are the top 500 companies around the world that do not pay taxes. Right? When the global system shut all businesses down around the world, they Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, all left their job and got a bailout. Millions of dollars back. Even Bill Gates himself, who was the CEO of Microsoft, stood down and went away. You think all you got to do, people, just research this stuff. It's not hard. But here's the thing. We said it before, and we will say it again. Keep an open mind. Don't shoot the messenger We're only just passing it on. If you don't want to believe the message, don't believe it, but don't shoot the messenger. And when it comes,
I'm very big on people researching for themselves. Like I honestly don't believe everyone should be spoon-fed things that they want to learn. You don't learn by other people's opinions. You learn by making your own. And I think people need to remember that is the only way you're going to find out your opinion on whether it's good or bad is by finding it out yourself, and that's by researching and learning. It's how we operate. It's how we operate as humans.
How many times have you and I and a few other people, every time we post something up on social media, have you got proof to back that up? You got proof to back that up? My very first thing that I say to them, can't you check it yourself before you come back to me? They don't want to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm very big on using accredited information. So obviously as a nurse, in nurse studies, that's how we get our qualifications. We have to read accredited information and analyze that and form our opinions. And I found instead of just saying, hey, this is my opinion, here, have it and believe it, I will sit there and I'll post accredited information to back my statements. So it goes one by one and they can read through it themselves and just kind of connect the dots themselves and make their own opinion on it that way. Because I find, at one point where I was sitting there trying to say, hey, look, this is what's happening, the world's going to end, this is going to happen. Nobody believed me. They just thought, oh my God, she's just another crazy person. Let's just like not listen to her. And I found that when I actually helped people learn by using accredited information, it helped them figure out what was going on without me spoon feeding it to them. And I'll always say that to them. People get angry at me all the time. And I say, look, just read. Just read. It's the best thing you can do. If you don't want to speak about it, don't speak about it, but just keep learning for yourself. So,
Well, see, this is what I know about you, Paige, and I've only spoke to you last night on the phone. This is what I pick up from you. You're more open-minded rather than being just tunnel vision and say this is the only thing that matters. But you look at all avenues. You say, hey, maybe this is not as bad as this, and then hey, what about this? You're trying to join the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, let's go into 5G for a second because a lot of people are still confused about 5G because it's new.
Mm-hmm.
They're still researching. They're still researching. And when we bring up 5G, it kind of missed. I want to say this in all honesty. In some form and shape or another, if we overuse the word 5G, we confuse the people.
Yeah.
Right? Because people are still researching about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm trying to limit, and I'm just saying it for a fact, I'm trying to limit 5G. Yes, I know what 5G can do and whatnot. But is it the cause? Is it the cause of this lockdown? I don't know. There are people protesting against it. Yeah, I get that. But 10 years ago, we got the 4G. People were protesting about the 4G 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to get a picture here that yes, it is bad. 5G is bad. Yes, it is. I've researched it. But majority of the people in Australia and around the world are just getting confused of what we are talking about. Like if you go to David Icke, or you go to other people like Max Egan, they're getting confused. So my question to you is, should we just keep it basic? Like the KISS logo, keep it simple, stupid? Or should we bring it what many people have been doing and keep beating people over the head with it because that's where the confusion comes in. We don't want to confuse people.
I think from my personal opinion, like I said, I run a worldwide group with a couple of other people, and curiosity gets people. It makes them tune in to think, oh, wow, maybe I should really think about this. So I know a time where I would sit there and I would throw it at people and be like, you know what, 5G is bad. You need to stop doing it. You need to stop it. You need to do whatever you can to stop it. And because it sounded crazy, nobody really cared. And that's where I think the 5G movement kind of halted a little bit, was because we were forcing it down people's throats. I found after a lot more research into 5G, obviously when I started that journey, that the thing that confused people the most was the words "no evidence." People instantly think no evidence means there's literally no proof whatsoever to say that it's safe. And it's true. There is no proof to say that it's safe or isn't safe, because no evidence means there's not enough evidence for or against the argument. And that's where a lot of people get confused. There's not enough evidence in general to support either side. So rolling it out to say, oh yeah, it's safe, even though there's not enough evidence to prove that, it's wrong. It's pretty much setting people up and saying, hey, look, we don't think it's a threat, but because we don't know it's a threat, we're just going to roll it out on you anyway, and you're going to like it or lump it, and we're going to figure out the truth behind it after it's already done. And a lot of people don't want to be, how to put it, a lot of people don't want to be human testing. Like, they don't want to do that. They don't want to risk their lives for the internet. They don't want to find out if it's going to hurt them, because nobody knows, and they want to know by putting it up. And I think that's why people get confused, is because there is no evidence, no force or against, to support the argument that it should be up on and being used by us. And I think that's why a lot of people get confused, is that they don't have enough evidence supporting it. So personally for me, like I said, I'm a very big 5G person.
You are.
Personally, yeah, I would love to see more evidence come, but not on the general public. Our general public should not be subjected to those tests.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because we've got to tread lightly. We really got to tread lightly, because if we're talking about vaccine 1 minute and then 5G the next, with no actual proof, like we mentioned, that's where the confusion comes in. And we want to keep people well educated and whatnot. But when I say people, and I've seen this, there's a lot of people that want to confuse the situation. Therefore, you're not uniting the people; you're just dividing them even further. And that's a sin that we've got to do. We've got to keep it simple. Yes, we're fighting against the law of the land that is not actually a law, with the social distancing, and we'll have to wear a mask here. We've got to be 1.5 meters. That's social distancing. Or people gathering, no more than 10 people at a gathering. When in your case in Victoria, it's 5. So, but we're currently under a mini martial law. It is martial law.
Yeah, it is.
And what is it going to take for the rest of Australia to wake up? Is it going to take another, I don't know, not a virus, so to speak, but let me put it this way.
Personal.
If people are forced out of their job due to mandatory vaccination and they choose not to get vaccinated, that's when I think the majority of Australia is going to go, we're going to take it.
I'm pretty sure that's I think the only time people are going to really see what's going on is when something personally affects them. And I think that's when it's going to happen. So now it might not be happening, but soon it's going to happen to everyone, and everyone's going to be on the same page, and everyone's going to be going, oh my God, why didn't I listen to that? I know I did at the very, very start when I was first finding out about vaccinations and stuff like that. I've got my whole life vaccinating. I've got my whole life vaccinating my kids. I wanted to do nursing where I promoted vaccinations, but now I've prepared to give up the job that I have always wanted because I don't support that anymore. So
Well, that's a question.
I
That's a
think,
question I want to ask. Oh, that's a question I want
yeah.
to ask you. What made you have a different opinion on vaccination? Because, as you just mentioned, you were all for it at one stage. You were brought up vaccinating your kids and your work and whatnot. But what made you have a different opinion?
Oh, do you want me to be honest?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, so it kind of was in like a chain of events, if I could say it like that.
Yep.
So pretty much, I didn't understand a test that was testing positive for some people, but then testing negative for other people. So generally, tests, if you're doing a test and it's something this big, you won't use a test that isn't going to be accurate. And that's where I kind of was like, hey, something's wrong here. That's when I obviously delved into.
So
Sorry?
so the testing was this all around this current virus, or did it happen a couple of years ago?
So it's the whole coronavirus thing was what woke me up to vaccinations. Yeah. Prior to that, I would have vaccinated all the time. But like I said, personally for me, I haven't ever got a flu shot. I've had the flu shot maybe once or twice, and it made me sick straight away. So I was like, I'm not taking them anymore. So that's always been a thing. But yeah, the coronavirus vaccination was the thing that really woke me up about vaccinations. I didn't believe why they were using a test that wasn't perfect. And then when I started researching it, it seemed a bit weird. And then I realized things were patterned, and then it just kind of grew from there. So yeah, no,
I really think like I'm 40 now. I'm going back. The only vaccination that I got was when I was young, and I can't remember when.
Yeah.
Right? Can't remember when. But I've been to Canada, and I didn't get any freaking vaccine when I went to Canada. I went on my own, came back. Didn't get sick in Canada. Didn't get sick when I got home. I knew about vaccinations a long time ago, probably in the late 90s. The late 90s, I learned about vaccinations, that there was nothing that you can do to reduce the risk of people getting sick.
Yeah.
Right? It was only common knowledge that if people get sick, you had medicine, like you got cough medicine, or you got Vicks Vapor Rub, or you got eucalyptus oil. That's common knowledge, right?
And that's something that I want to touch on as well, is that I've actually got a really strong immune system. So for me to get sick is like once in a million. And I didn't have proper vaccinations until my first child. So I've got 8 kids, and I didn't have my first vaccinations until I was pregnant with my first son. And I got horribly sick.
You've got 8 kids. That means you're about to start an AFL team, ladies.
Yeah.
I've only got one.
But yeah, so like even my whole life, like I never really had medication or anything like that. So my immune system just kind of fought it off. And
well, like okay, I currently take medication for my shoulder due to my shoulder injury, and I had a surgery. Yeah, I take Panadine 4 once in a blue moon. Panadine 4. Yeah. That's the only thing, right? When I get hay fever, I take an antihistamine. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a standard thing. Other than that, I don't take any form of medication. I'm not taking any, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
But I've only been sick once, really, really sick once in my life. It was back in 1990, and I did have a virus for 2 weeks, and I did lose about 5 or 10 kilos back then. I slept for 20 hours a day for 2 weeks, and the only thing I can have was a lemon drink like this. That's the only thing I can have. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything.
I've literally, in my whole life, I haven't really had any major illness. Like I said, the worst thing was probably gastro, or I'm not even sure if it was gastro. It was probably food poisoning. That was pretty bad.
I had
flu shot.
No, I had gastro back in 2009. It was freaking hot here in Adelaide. I was working at the one-day cricket, and I got sent home because within half an hour, it went all through me. I was sick only for 2 days. Gastro for 2 days. But that's nothing. Like the only time when I really was sick was back in 1990. We went camping down the south coast of New South Wales, and the day I got there to the day I got home, that's when I was sick. So but
that's what I mean. We all have illnesses, but like there's some people that don't really take medication at all, and we can just fight it off. And then there's others that. So the best way I can explain it with medication is, after long periods of time, your body builds resistances to them. So I always sat there and was like, oh, I'm not going to take that because, like, if I take it now and then I really need it another time, my body's going to be already like used to it, so it's not going to work as effective. So like I'd kind of bypass as much as I could. And I remember one time I had a surgery and they gave me painkillers and it like knocked me out, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? But like everybody's different. It just depends on your response to medication and your immune system.
See, it comes back down to this. We're talking about having different opinions. This is my motto in life. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. And basically is that, I've got a high tolerance of pain, medication, or whatnot. I've got a high tolerance. So if I ever do get sick, you have to pump a lot of shit into me because I haven't really been sick. I've got a tolerance. My immune system is that stable that I can fight off all the combat deadly sickness out there at that one time. Now, here's the thing. This is the educational thing for the people that are currently listening. People, you realise back 100 years ago when we had the Spanish flu, that they were encouraging people to go outside. All gatherings inside, all public gatherings inside were forced to be outside, not inside, outside. So let's go 100 years to today. Everything that is healthy to our immune system, to our bodies, to everything, they are trying to enforce the law, which is not a law, to take away the healthy stuff. That you can't go outside to enjoy. You've got to be locked down. Like, okay, some places are now reducing the restrictions, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At one specific time, all the things that was healthy for us was taken away. It's not mandatory to wear a mask, ladies and gentlemen. It does not prevent you from getting sick.
It's another thing I wanted to point out as well. Masks are actually used to help prevent other people getting sick. It doesn't prevent you from getting sick. It prevents other people from getting sick. Hence why when people are having surgery, you'll notice that surgeons wear masks, because if they have anything that comes out of them and it goes into a live body, it can cause infection. It's the same with gloves. You can wear gloves all the time and you'd still be passing around the same bug that you're trying to prevent passing around, because you're touching everything with the same glove. You're not changing your gloves every single time you're touching something. It's all very contradicting. Like, well, a lot of nurses know that.
And another thing too is it's not your right to protect my health. It's my right. It's me. I'm the one that's supposed to protect my health. I've got to get some food tasting at the moment. Here we go. Just give me a couple of seconds. Yeah, that's cooked. That's cooked. That's cooked. It's beautiful. Cooked. Oh, that's fucking hot too. So. Yeah, that's cooked. What I was about to say. Yeah, let's go back there. What I'm saying is, if you don't believe what Paige was saying, or myself, or even the episode before tonight when we had Jackie on, if you don't believe, go and research yourself. Right? Go and check it out for yourself, because there's a lot of things that are out there for people to. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. Go and look it up. I mean, I've done my medical research when I was a little kid because my mum was a nurse and she was a nurse for 29 years. Everything that I wanted to find out was from my mum. Now, when my mum retired, I went looking. I went on the internet and looked at what I need to look at. This virus is not more deadlier than getting the common flu.
Yeah.
Let's
That's what I mean. A lot of people are going to sit there and say, "Oh my God, it's crazy" and stuff like that. I generally try to say, look, that's my opinion. If you don't believe it, that's fine. I still respect them, but it's always good to make sure you keep an open mind and always research what you are hearing rather than just saying, "Oh no, it's a load of crap." But that's what I mean.
Right.
It's everyone's each to their own, and if you want to learn more about it, the best way you can do it is by researching for yourself, because how are you supposed to form an opinion if you don't know the facts?
Right. So, what is the next thing for you and Nathan? You are going, like you mentioned that you're pressing charges. Do you want to go further than that? Do you want the police responsible to be down? What's the word I'm looking for? Stood down from their role of their workforce?
Well, see, that's a hard.
Do you want the police? Do you want these police officers to be reprimanded for what they did?
Like I said, this one's a really hard question to answer because I am a very caring person. I care solely for my kids as well as my family, but I also know these police officers also might have kids and families as well.
Yep.
Personally, I think if they have a history of this, then maybe they shouldn't be in their job. I don't think this behavior should continue if they have a history of it. It's just like a criminal. If a criminal has a history of it, they still charge a criminal and don't let them do the same things. And I think that should still apply with police officers as well. That said, if I was to know that some of these police officers were only doing it because they were following orders and they were fearful and they were willing to apologize, I'd probably change my decision. But if they have a history of it, then yeah, I think they should be weeded out. I think they shouldn't keep their jobs if they have a history of continuously hurting people just for their purpose.
I know you. Well, see, I know that you said that you came towards the tail end. Were you aware that the police was already there before the protesters actually turned up?
No, I didn't know that at all.
The police was already there before everyone turned up. So they're already congregated. So they're already congregated. They already congregated their positions. As a matter of fact, while the protest was going, they called for backup for more reinforcement to be attended.
Yeah, I actually saw the backup coming as I was walking up to Parliament steps, and so I was like, "Oh crap, I better get over there." But that's what I mean. Knowing that, it was all pre-planned. Knowing that the media was all pre-planned. Knowing that it was all kind of pre-planned. Honestly,
that's the thing about the media. They were in the crowd while the speakers were talking, right? But yet they've got the decency to go around and spin it and saying that the protesters were turning violent to the police officers. They were in the crowd. They were in the crowd watching the whole freaking thing.
That's what I noticed as well, that a lot of them were already there. One of them was really actually quite rude to a protester, and they said, "Oh, he come." I can't remember who it was, but someone had a video that was sent through to me, and they were saying, "Oh, he comes to media to come team up with the police." And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my God!" And then she's like, "I'm just doing my job," and I'm like, "Okay." And the next one was I think it was Channel. It was either Channel 9, I think, or Channel 7. She had blonde hair. And as soon as Nathan was being dragged away, she kind of did her part and was like, the violent protest, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. And then, you see her put her mic down, and then the sheer look on her face, you could tell she was upset, that she knew what was happening was wrong, but she didn't do anything to stop that. it's conflicting
Yeah.
because some people have a
No,
heart and some people.
I know exactly why she probably didn't do anything, because then it will contradict her position in her employment. If she went against the agenda of what their opposition is doing, she would have been fired the next day.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Same goes with police. Some are good and some are bad. Some just can't do anything. Some are doing it purely because they don't care. It's really based on one person individually.
So my next question for you is, because the arrest of Nation has been put out on mainstream media. You know that.
Yep.
Have they contacted you since Sunday to do an interview with them?
No, nothing. Yeah. Nothing at all. I had actually tried contacting 7 News asking if they would remove me and Nathan out of the thing, because we obviously have personal stuff going on in our lives too.
Yeah. I don't want to go there.
Yeah. No. I won't go into that. But some things of our personal life have actually been affected by it. So we've also lost family members because of it. We've also lost friends because of it. So I understand that they have a job, but they need to understand that we have a life too, and we have kids as well. And their gain isn't worth our family. And if they're not willing to cooperate with me and my family, then I'll make sure that that the law's used against them and that I would take them down. Like, I know that that sounds threatening, but facts are my kids, my family, the people I love and care about are worth way more than a news story. And people should have realized that.
Because the way I see it is that obviously it's a public smearing on mainstream media with you and Nathan and the others that happen. It's a public campaign on mainstream media, making that you guys are the bad ones. And it's a public smear.
That's what I mean. Behind the scenes, people don't see that, my daughter cries now every single time her dad leaves the room. They don't see that,
And as a matter of fact, she was crying on the phone last night when I was speaking to you.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's the stuff that people don't see. People don't see how false media affects people. And I know for our family it has affected us. It's made us very less likely to trust people. I know I'm normally a very nice and trusting person. I would go out of my way to do anything for anyone, but it's made me question humanity, and it's really made me question whether anyone's nice anymore. Like, and I always see that in everyone. So
it's not just about that. It's a mental state. There's going to be there's a lot of mental health issues in the society right now with all this situation that's currently going on. The mainstream media is one of the cause for it too, by pumping out the propaganda and the fear mongering and all that. And what happened with your kids witnessing that? I mean, had your kids ever witnessing that in the public, where 10 or 11 cops arresting you or Nathan or anyone else? Because this is what the kids are going to remember for a long time.
And that's what I mean. It causes not even just harm for kids, it causes harm for everybody. Like, many of the protesters are probably sitting there doubting themselves now for what they believed in, because so many people have turned against them. I know myself personally, I've been threatened. I can't even count how many times I've been threatened, but I've been told to kill myself like that many times. It's not funny as well. And even from my perspective, I find mentally it's hard to go through these kind of things, but you always got to just kind of keep on top of it. But people don't realize that this is the kind of stuff that comes with it. This is the kind of stuff that people don't see behind the scenes, that they see, oh, it's just a media story. No, it's not. It's not a media story. These are people's lives. These are people that could be the nicest people, and you're putting them down even though they would probably go out their way for you no matter what. And that's where it plays a big part. The media plays a big part. They are part of what's killing us. Not only this virus, but the media, the fear, the insults, the disrespect. It's all part of what's killing us. And it's sad. It's really sad.
Now, I don't want to say, or I don't want to go down the road if there's any funding being set up for a criminal charge, because there's no one got charged for this, ladies and gentlemen. No one got charged. There's no charges laid. There's no fines at all, right? Basically, Nathan got arrested by 10 to 12 police officers. He was thrown against the wall. He was thrown on the ground. The video, what we shared, you did see one cop knee him in the side. Nathan then got broken ribs. He was put in the back of the paddy wagon. Didn't go anywhere. He was just sat in the back. 20 minutes later, they released him.
Yeah.
Right? Now, most of these people, ladies and gentlemen, got falsely arrested. They got let go. There's one person out of the arrest that did get charged, and that's going to go through its course as well. But if people don't see this wrong, if they don't see this being wrong, for whatever reason, whether they were following orders or not, and they had a job to do, that's irrelevant. But if they don't see this being wrong, right, then people just got rocks in their head. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. They just got rocks in their head. Because Nathan was not part, I'm going to say this on behalf of Nathan and Paige. Nathan was not part of the protest. And then we're going to say, well, why was Nathan near the event? Because Paige was rocking up to the event. Not Nathan. Paige was. You know?
And I think that's where people get it confused. I would much rather people fling hate on me than on my partner, because, okay, judge me if I did wrong, but in your opinion, if I've done wrong, judge me, but not him. He's the best dad that I could ever ask for my kids, and he's done nothing but be a good dad, and he got slammed because of my actions. And I know my actions, okay, a lot of people don't believe that it's right, but for me, I know my laws. I believe it was. I respect everyone's opinion though, but you shouldn't be hating on my partner because he is with me and I have certain beliefs. So,
now, now you don't have to answer this question, but I'm going to play the devil advocate. I am going to play the devil advocate in this question. Is Nathan known to the police?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Right. So, do the police think Nathan is a threat to them?
Well, let's speaking honestly, yeah. Nathan, yes, has passed with the police. Everyone has passed, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. But
before you go on, I've got a pass.
Yep. Yeah. We all do. But yeah, Nathan.
Let me say this: the police know who I am.
Yeah.
The police know, but I'm not threatening them. I'm not a threat to them. Therefore, that's the same question I'm asking you: is Nathan a threat to the police?
No. See, the last time anything happened with Nathan when it came to the police was I can't even remember. It was probably back when we first started going out. So we've been together for 7 years now. So it's been quite a long time since something he's done was bad. But yeah, like, I'm not going to lie. Everyone deserves to know that he had a past, but it's the past.
Unfortunately, and here's a problem. And I'll talk from experience. People are always going to judge you on your past, no matter if you make right decisions in your life to set your path straight again. Right?
Yeah, and that's another thing that they're always going to do that. We know that. We know that we're always going to have a judgment either way. But that's another thing that I found a bit conflicting with Nathan and his false arrest was that Nathan never gave over his name until they told him that if he didn't give it over, that he wasn't going to be released out of that van. So,
but hold on. This is where it gets confusing. And I'm on your side here. This is where it gets confusing. They weren't going to release Nathan if they didn't get his name, but yet he didn't even get charged for what he was falsely arrested for.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. He didn't give his name, so how did the police know that he had a history of anything? It's strange. It just, for me, it seems like they just targeted him because he had tattoos. He looks like a bit of a troublemaker, and he had kids. It's a perfect target. So I'm sorry, if you don't have a name, how can you run a check on someone? How can you know that they've done something wrong and arrest them for acting up when you don't know?
Well, here's the only. I mean, this is a suspicion. Maybe one of the police officers known Nathan.
Well, that's what I was worried about too, because we also, when we went to go make the statement, the senior constable in our area knows Nathan from his past and actually turned around to Nathan and said, even though, you could make a statement, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And then Nathan goes, oh, well, so you're probably not going to make anything happen from it. And he turns around and he's like, well, I'm just giving you the facts. And then he turned around and smartly turned around to Nathan and said, well, it looks like you cleaned yourself up. And that was a bit of a snide comment towards him. So,
because as you know, police do start mingling and talk to one another, no matter which district they're from. And just because you got a tattoo on your arm sleeve, it might look suspicious. I'm just saying. I'm just playing the devil advocate. Maybe there was a cop involved in the crowd that falsely arrested Nathan, knew Nathan, because if Nathan didn't get charged for anything, right? He got released. But if they were saying you got to give us your name before we released you, how do they know who he was?
Exactly. That's where I was like, hey, what's going on here? But that's what I mean. It's very confusing for everyone. It's whatever it is. People are going to walk away from this and say, hey, what happened? But only me and Nathan really know when it's there. So
it wasn't like Nathan dropped his wallet on the sidewalk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they actually helped him take it out of his pocket while he was in handcuffs.
But see, that's the thing. They took his wallet out of his pocket, therefore he's got his ID, and they're just trying to confirm if that's the person that you get what I'm saying. Like,
I totally get what you're saying. Hang on, sorry, I got a little kid near me.
That's okay. I've worked in security and whatnot, and it's a protocol. But I'm still going back to my original thought. Maybe there was a police officer. Knew Nathan without his knowledge, because when I saw the video on Sunday night, they were talking to Nathan before they actually pounded him.
Yeah, and that's in that 16-second video that you have that I also sent, was that they were just talking to him prior to it. So he was pretty calm. He's like, look, I don't know what you're arresting me for or trying to talk to me for, and I haven't done anything wrong. And they still just kind of pursued it anyway. So I don't know. It's the whole thing.
So getting off the false arrests, I know that there are other people that are trying to put together a lawsuit together and whatnot. But going on protesting, what do you think the next step forward should be? Should we continue to keep protesting, or should we take a different direction or a different approach? What did you, Paige, and Nathan going to do in the future to move on forward?
Well, in the future, clearly we're going to make sure none of our children are even in the vicinity at all, whether they're walking or whether they're not. Hang on, so sorry.
Don't have to apologise. It's a family. It's a happy family.
All right, I'll close the door. Sorry. So yeah, in the future, clearly we're not going to do any family walks in the city. Or Nathan's not going to do any family walks in the city. That's definitely given. Where that's never going to happen again.
Mommy, can you choose the spicy one?
Sorry.
Can you choose
We've got a mascot here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a little mascot running around. A mascot.
But yeah, no, we're definitely not going to ever take kids in the city for walking or anything again. In the future, if they have a protest, look, each to their own. Each to their own. If you want to go protest, then go protest. But no, this is the kind of stuff that happens, so that you got to be prepared for that risk. But if you're going to protest as well, make sure you link up with someone, even if they don't have the same beliefs. You're united in numbers. It's such a hard one. I know for me personally, Nathan's actually turned around and said that he now wants to do protests. But,
welcome aboard, Nathan. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. But obviously he wants to just be that one that sits there and says, hey, look, what you guys are doing is wrong. I don't think he'd prefer the violent side.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing too. Are you aware that there's a protest coming up this Saturday in Sydney?
There's a protest where, sorry?
Apparently there's a protest coming on Saturday this week, the 16th of May, up in Sydney.
Oh, okay. In Sydney.
Yeah. Now, we know what happened in Sydney before Melbourne with Renee.
I think people need to be very, very cautious. Yeah, very cautious. Not saying that don't go out and do what you want, but be cautious when you go in there.
Now, I've got a person in the chat room, the Gang of Four. G'day, Gang of Four from America. Yep. What are the people protesting? It's basically the same what the USA is doing. It's for your rights, your legal, God-given rights. And with all the implications that are currently put in place due to lockdown, it's not a law, it's a rule. And that's what people are protesting for. It's against the Constitution. Yep.
And I think everybody's there for different reasons. Like, so it's not only law, but it's the force and against vaccines, it's the force and against the virus, it's the force and against the government, it's the force against of every single debatable topic that there is. It's all about it. It's about everything. If, say, for instance, you think the sky is blue and the other person thinks it's green, that's what the protest is about. If you think that you don't want to be vaccinated or you want to be vaccinated, that's what it's about. It's about all of it. Everything. Absolutely everything. And it just takes a couple of people to believe the same common grounds, and that's where you get people uniting. So it's not just about one thing. It's about everything. So, but yeah, laws and stuff, that's a huge one. Constitutional, big one as well, because they all entwine with the same thing.
Because basically how our God-given rights is been taken away, which is a God-given right, it's humanitarian rights as well, right? It's been taken away. If you're healthy, you shouldn't be forced into lockdown. If you're healthy, you only quarantine yourself if you are sick. Now, here's the problem. There are people that are healthy are taking the voluntary thing to self-quarantine. Okay, they can do that. But don't force it and don't implicate it on me. If I don't want to be quarantined, you should not force that quarantine onto me. If people want to wear a mask, let them wear a mask, but don't force it on me. I don't want to wear a mask. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. People need to have a choice in it. They need to know that they have a choice, not just take it away because a couple of people think, well, I don't want this. It's everybody's choice. It's not the government. It's not mine. It's not yours. It's everybody's choice. So you got to do what you think is best for you and leave everyone else to do what they think is best for them. And that's how it's got to be. It's how it's got to be.
And this is only the beginning. I mean, the fuse have just been set.
Oh,
now
yeah.
now we're going to see where it's going, because with what you guys went through on Sunday with falsely arrests and suffering injuries as well, I suppose that people are going to be more cautious, but more so, people have seen the footage, whether from the mainstream media or on social media. People have seen the footage. People know that this was wrong, and people know now that we're not going to stand up for this anymore.
Yeah.
None of it. So I'll just leave it there, because we need to really get back to basics of it all, because there's already confusion and disruption, and trying to get the proof out there. And you've been doing that since Sunday, trying to get the proof out there, and you've been hammered left, right, and centre. And I thank you for standing up for yourself, because you're the strong one here. You're the strong one out of this thing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
It is. But before you go, do you want to promote anything that you are promoting, like any group that you're with or anything? Give a shout out to anyone? Yes.
I would love to shout out to our group, our 5G group. I'm pretty sure you got the video for it if you could play it for us. So we're currently about to launch a platform of our own to support the testing of 5G, helping other people get tested, lawyers, legal actions, class actions. So we've got our own platform coming up. And I think everyone should go.
You want me to play that 2-minute video from the group?
Yeah, you'll see our whole entire team behind it. So if you could, let everyone know that's who we are, and to come find us
I'll do a share
join our platform.
screen. I'll do a share screen right now, and just give me a minute. Here we go. This is the video, and enjoy.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I do not consent to 5G.
My name is Bernadette, and I do not consent to 5G.
My name is Paige, and I do not consent to 5G.
My name is Matsaya, and I do not consent to 5G.
My name is Crystal, and I do not consent to 5G.
My name is Chantal, and I do not consent to 5G.
And my name is Kat, and I do not consent to 5G.
Did you know that electromagnetic fields caused by 5G can cause sleepless nights?
EMF can cause and tingling sensations.
EMFs can cause pain in muscle joints and legs.
EMFs can cause flu-like symptoms and fatigue.
The new 5G network has not been proven safe to humans.
Worldwide scientists and doctors are asking to out of 5G until can be done.
We've all come along this far. Made noise, written letters. Now it's time to make deals.
We've now created a platform for change, and we'd like you all, our family, to come and communicate truth, opinions, and objectives.
To activate movements, activities, and change.
To donate, support and sustain.
To mitigate the threatening wars from around the world to around class action.
Tonight, bring your family, friends, and followers to a result-oriented social platform.
To participate by putting your heart and soul towards the things that matter most to you.
We will translate all actions and donations into transparent figures so you can watch your movement grow.
We're excited to bring you along on the next phase of this movement to stop 5G. We do not consent.
United we stand.
We respect your decisions.
Act now. Know you're right.
Go make a ruckus.
It's time to communicate.
There you go.
You there?
I am here. There you go. So it just goes to show that there's more people as trying to spread the truth, whichever way it is. So
Yeah.
that's good. So yeah. Paige, I want to do this for you. I really want to do this. I want to give you an open invitation to join the Resistance, this program, to come on to talk about anything that you are currently doing, so we can spread the word out there. So if you'd like to join us anytime, probably once a week or whatnot, so we can get more people involved. You're more than welcome to, and it'll be like this. We'll do like about an hour and a half type of show. We talk about what's currently going on in the world and any update that you want to talk about what's currently going on with Nathan, if you can. Other than that, so yeah. So
cool.
You're more than welcome to come on.
Thank you so much. That would be great.
As a matter of fact, you're the second one tonight. I've done a lot tonight. But there's going to be a broadcast, I think, tomorrow. I'm waiting for a phone call tomorrow, and we are going to talk. We're going to talk about the common law here in Australia, ladies and gentlemen, with the next couple of episodes, and we're going to get down the rabbit hole of what occurred on Sunday, on Mother's Day, just recently in Melbourne, because the next step forward, if we're going to continue these protests, we need to be a little bit more aware of what is going to be on the opposition side, because they do plant these provocateurs and these instigators to make the whole situation look bad. So we just need to be a little bit more prepared the next time we go out on the street to protest, because if kids, we're talking children here, this was the second time in 2 days when there's not a protest, but two incidents, one in Sydney and one in Melbourne, where a person was dragged off their child, falsely arrested. Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, this is okay? If not, give us a thumbs up. And Paige, thank you so much for joining me, because your story is going to go out there. And please share it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great talking to you, and it's been good to, get down to basics with someone. It's great. So thanks so much for having me, and thanks for inviting me along here.
That's okay. So, guys, thank you so much for being in the chat room. And once again, as always, welcome to the Resistance. Peace out.